Well, hello, everybody. It's me, Bob Biggerstaff, and I'm here doing an episode of the Bobby BiggerCast. Getting ready to go to Houston tomorrow, and figured I'd do an episode of my podcast. Now, I haven't done this in a while because I've had quite an adventure. Let me try and explain it to you for those of you that don't know. I'm sure the people that listen to this podcast, do know. On approximately October 17th, I was meeting a friend of mine for dinner. We were getting some barbecue, so I took the bus. Yes, New York City, took the bus. Got off the bus. It was like a 5-minute walk to the barbecue place we were going. And my legs started to hurt. It's getting cold out. I just thought, it's getting cold out. I need to stretch a little bit. Went to the barbecue place, ate some good barbecue, had a couple beers, came outside to leave, and my legs started to hurt again. But I was like, I just got to stretch. 5-minute walk to the bus stop. Of course, I get to the bus stop. I wasn't standing next to the bus stop. My leg was hurting. I had to like sit down. And the bus went by me. So I had to walk to the subway, walked a little extra. My legs starting to hurt. It's hurting more. This is October 17th. I get home. I go to sleep. The next day, I can't even stand up. If I stand up, it's as if someone is stabbing me in the foot. Now, I don't know what the hell is wrong with me, right? This is October 18th. I remember this because, a date. I just remember the dates. So, October 18th, 19th, and 20th, I'm at home. I stand up, it's like someone's stabbing me in the foot. I don't know what the hell the problem is. I get my roommate. I do some Amazon 2-day things. I get like heating pads. I get uh, cold packs. Nothing's working. I do Amazon Prime. I get a fucking one of those massage guns. I get one of those. Nothing's working on my leg or my foot. It's really just it's hurting on my foot when I stand up. And also I can't lay down on the bed because my foot hurts so bad, and also like it's like my left top of my left butt cheek. It's like my back. So I can't even lay on my bed. Uh, I couldn't sit down like I am now. So I couldn't take a shit, right? I don't know. I could. Of course I could shit. I just couldn't sit down. So, uh, basically, for 3 days at home, uh, I'm just miserable. I can't get up and I can get up and like go to the bath. I can't even go to the bathroom. So I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat anything because I can't take a shit. So for 3 days, October 18th, 19th, and 20th, all I had to eat was 6 yogurts and water. That's all I was doing. I would get up out of my off the bed, hobble, if you will, and it hurt so bad that I would hobble to the refrigerator, throw the door open. I knew I had yogurts in there. I'd grab 3 yogurts, and the first time I did it twice. First time I grabbed a spoon, go back in my room, flop on the bed, and I ate three, and I'm just laying there watching TV in pain. I don't know what it is. And I also haven't been to the doctor in a long time. So again, I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. My girlfriend is a nurse in Houston. I'm in New York City. Uh, so she's like, we're just thinking it's something that's hopefully going to go away or at least get better. No, it's terrible. 3 days at home, ate, like I wasn't doing anything, so I wasn't hungry, but that's all I ate was 6 yogurts and plenty of glasses of water. So I'm at home. Uh, my roommate, you know, he's refilling my water if I ask him. My buddy Paul Odo, he's bringing me water. But I don't know what's right, and I don't have insurance. Here's another thing. Friend of mine. So my roommate Paul tells me months ago, back in like April, he's like, "Hey, I know a guy that another comedian hooked me up with this guy that signs comedians or people that don't make a lot of money up for insurance for Medicaid." I was like, okay. So I got the guy's info, but I never called him. Now this shit happens. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go to the hospital or the ER because I don't have insurance. Here's an interesting story. I call the guy. I call this guy. He works for like the New York State Department of Insurance or whatever. It's one of the official guys that hooks people up with Medicaid. I Googled his name. I mean, he was a legit guy with the state of New York. And I think I called him like Friday evening or Saturday, so had to leave a message. He calls me back and he's like, "Hey, can I call you on Monday?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So this guy calls me back on Monday about 1 o'clock. Now I've talked to my girlfriend, and at this point, we've decided that I'm going to go to the emergency room. Now during those 3 days, I haven't taken a shit. I haven't eaten anything except 6 yogurts that had water. I mean, I've peed because I'm able to go into the bathroom and kind of, very painfully stand in front of the toilet and take a whiz. I did it in the tub actually once. I went and turned the water on in the shower and stood in the shower and just took a whiz. So this is Monday afternoon. I've talked to my girlfriend. We've decided I'm gonna go to the emergency room. But I'm like, okay, I'll go at like 6 o'clock in the evening. I don't know why I said that, but I was like, I'll go at 6 o'clock. So the guy with the New York State Department of Health or whatever he's with calls me back at like 2 o'clock. I give him all my information and he signs me up for Medicaid. So I literally signed up for Medicaid a couple hours before I went to the hospital and I was covered. And so get this. So how am I going to get to the hospital? I don't know. I don't know that I have Medicaid just because that guy did it. I take an Uber. Now, if you had seen me, I ordered some crutches on Amazon. Like all this shit comes in either 1 or 2 days. So my roommate, and I'm still using it. My roommate had bought me a cane, right? Old man cane. He bought it from like a medical supply store in the neighborhood. Right? Nice cane. Got a G-Hole podcast sticker and a Bobby Biggercast sticker on it. I pimped it out. So I get my roommate's helping me out. Decide now I'm like, I gotta call an Uber, go to the hospital. Well, I Yelp the hospitals in the neighborhood in Astoria, in Queens, whatever, trying to find what I think is the good hospital to go to. I decide by myself on Queens Presbyterian, and it was very nice, but we'll get to that later. I call an Uber. Now I have these crutches. Oh, I should also tell you that this pain, whenever it didn't matter if it was my left foot. That movie, My Left Foot. I don't know if that's not making fun of. Google the movie My Left Foot, and Daniel Day-Lewis plays a guy that he can only move his left foot, but he's apparently he was a really good painter, and I can't do shit. So I had ordered crutches, and like I said, it doesn't matter if my foot is on the ground, if it's hovering, if I'm lifting it up, it still hurts. Just the fact of standing up, the pain it's like someone stabbing me in the foot. That's the only thing I can compare it to. So my biggest fear was I don't even know if I can make it downstairs. We're on the second floor. I'm obviously not going to take the stairs. I'm going to take the elevator, but I don't even know if I can get from the kitchen to the front door of the apartment, then down the hallway in the elevator, then to the door of the building, then outside into an Uber. I don't even know if I can do that. But I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go to the hospital. I knew it was going to hurt so bad. I can tell you guys, I am what is known in the business as a bitch. I don't I, I don't like pain. I guess a lot of people don't, but this was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I'll say it again. Like someone stabbing me in the foot when I would stand up. So I take these crutches and I don't know if you ever crutches are fucking bullshit. I don't even I'm trying to use the crutches and I'm like, yeah, you put them on your shoulder, you put them under your shoulders and you walk with them and uh they're hard. I mean, obviously it's hard when you can't even when you're in tremendous pain and nothing you can do helps it. Like the crutches are supposed to help you walk. Well, I can't walk. Blah 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 blah. So I start this little trek. My roommate's standing next to me. I got a backpack with I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the ER for the night. So I put like a toothpaste, sweatpants, underwear, socks, t-shirt, a change of clothes for tomorrow when I go home from the ER or tonight when I whatever. So my roommate's carrying my backpack. He's walking next to me. I mean, and I'm just like, I got these crutches. And I'm like, it was the worst. I mean, I made it. I made it to the Uber. Then I'm in the Uber and I'm like, okay, hopefully I can lay down on the back. I mean, I should have ordered like the Uber Black or whatever the fucking Suburban is. So I could have laid down. Of course, the guy shows up in like a Toyota. I was going to say Tercel, but I don't think that's around anymore. Like a Corolla. Maybe it was a Camry, but I'm trying to lay down on the back seat and it's not wide enough for me to like really lay down because that's the only way I can like get my foot in the right position where it hurts less or doesn't hurt at all. So I'm in the backseat of this guy's Uber. He was a Middle Eastern guy, very nice, but I'm in the back just laying down, going. I mean, I'm making noise like I'm just fighting this fucking pain. And I say to the guy, I'm like, hey man, I go, I'm gonna be making a lot of noise back here, just because I'm really in pain. I go, but none of it's directed towards. If I say anything, none of it's directed towards you. And he was like, that. He's like, that is okay. I want you to be comfortable. Yes, I'm doing a bad impression, but that's what he sounded like. Nice guy, and I tipped him well. I always tip the Uber drivers well. I think I tipped this guy extra because I'm in the back going, fuck. Again, worst pain I've ever felt in my life. It's in my calf and foot. And my foot is like, if it's not being stabbed, there's like a cramp in it that I can't do anything to fix. So it's got a cramp and a stab. And honestly, I'm sitting right now. We put a shower bench. I'll get to all this later, probably the next episode. We put a shower bench in the bathroom in the shower for me. We'll talk about that later. But we took it out because I don't need it anymore. And that's what I'm sitting on at this desk. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, this is the handle for the shower bench. So I think Paul's gonna kind of take it apart so we can set it somewhere. But so I'm sitting on a shower bench. Anyway, so I get to the hospital, Queens Presbyterian, very nice people. I get there. When I get out of the guy, the Uber driver, very nice, opens the door. He's like, he wants to help me, and I'm like, I got it. I get out. He like had taken my crutches out. He hands them to me, and when I stand up, like, I don't know if it didn't completely hurt, but my foot didn't hurt at all when I stood up, and I started using the crutches, and I was walking into the ER, and that no pain lasted for about 30 seconds. So I get into the ER, and then the pain kicks in, and I'm like, I can't even stand up. I hobble over to the check-in desk at the ER, and I'm like, and this is October 20th. I remember the date I went to the ER. This is October 20th. So I get to the check-in desk at the ER. I'm standing there, and I find a way to, I'm on the crutches, and I'm like, and I find a way to like basically point my toes down. I'm wearing shoes, but I can like put my toe down like straight up and down. So my shoes, like, these are my toes, my shoes like this, just like straight up and down. And that's like the only way I can figure out that I have that it doesn't hurt, or hurts much less. So I'm standing there, and the lady's like, she's asking me questions, and I gotta fill out some papers, and I'm like, ugh. She's like, do you have insurance? And I go, I literally signed up for Medicaid, 4 hours ago. Blah, 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 blah. They sent me, she's like, okay, go over there and wait. So I go to the waiting area. Well, this is COVID times. So the waiting area at the hospital, where they have seats, basically every other seat is blocked off. So you can't sit directly next to anybody. But they don't have them blocked off. Like, I went to the dermatologist today. They block off the seats by putting clear tape over this, just an X over the seat. Like, they got the handles on the seat, and there's an X of tape across it, which I almost sat on it. But there's also a sign that says, do not sit here. Well, at the hospital, they had like, it was like when you see a place in public where they don't want homeless people, sleeping. They didn't have spikes, but they had like these metal things on the seat where it was like, no, you can't, there's no way you can sit here. You can't even try to. And there weren't a lot of people waiting, but it was a Monday night. It's football season. I had my phone. I was like, all right, but I can't sit. That's the other thing. But I'm like, all right, I'll try to sit. So I got my backpack, my crutches. I hobble over to the waiting area. They actually set me in a wheelchair. One of those like heavy duty wheelchairs. That's kind of like I think Hannibal. I know they brought Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs in like on a 2-wheeler, a dolly. But I thought at one point he was like sitting in a chair, and so it was like one of those chairs, very heavy duty, and a nice chair. But I had to like sit on the side and lean and kick my leg out. And I'm like, can I sit like this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, all right, I'll go sit over there. I sit in the seat in the waiting room for about 30 seconds, and I stand up, and I'm like, I can't sit here. And now the pain is fucking kicking in. Like, I gotta lay down. I was this close to laying down on the floor. Nurse, I'm assuming, comes walk. She looked like a nurse, comes walking by, and I'm like, nurse. I go, I have a problem with my back and foot. I go, I need to lay down. Is there any place I can lay down? Can you like bring in a stretcher or a cot or whatever? And she leaves, and she comes and she's like, yeah, you come with me. And so I go through these doors, and she lets me lay on a hospital bed, whatever you call it, a gurney, but it's a hospital bed, because they move hospital beds all over the place. That's in the hallway. And it was clean, I hope. She's like, yeah, she's like, sure, you can sit here. I tell her, I've got some paperwork. I give it to her so that I don't get lost in the hubbub. I lay down on the bed in the hallway, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Feel better. But now I'm laying there, and I'm just like, I don't know how long this is going to take. It's a ER in Queens, New York. So I'm assuming it's going to take a while. Got my phone. I'm watching Monday Night Football. I don't remember who was playing. I know it wasn't Tampa Bay. Go Bucks. Beat the Saints. They're going to beat the Saints this weekend, I hope. Fingers crossed. Hey, you know what? Now is the time to tell you guys about Bobby Biggs Chipotle. That's right, guys. Bobby Biggs Chipotle hot sauce. I have my own hot sauce created by Silk City Hot Sauce. That's silkcityhotsauce.com. It's a great hot sauce company. Check out their website. They have plenty of cool hot sauces like the Bobby Biggs Chipotle. It's got pumpkin in it. It's got chipotle. It's not hot at all. It's very good. I actually use it as like salsa because it's not like Tabasco. It's not just straight liquid. This actually has like, if you want to say pulp in it, I'll say that. I think it has like pulp in it, and it's delicious because I love chipotle. And the owner Jeff at Silk City Hot Sauce is a big fan. He's a sponsor of this podcast, and so he made me a hot sauce. And order this or any of their hot sauces. Check out their website, silkcityhotsauce.com, and use passcode BIGS. Get 15, I believe it's 15% off your order, no matter how many you order. So check that out, guys. Where were we? All right. By the way, it's going to be a two-parter at least, because I got plenty of, I want to give you guys all the details since I haven't been doing this podcast in a while. The reason I haven't done it is because it was very hard for me to sit. If you watched the G-Hole podcast or listen to that, you know that I was doing a lot of them from my bed because it was much easier to lay down than it was to sit. So anyway, let's get back to what I was talking about. So I'm in the hospital, laying in the hospital bed, probably, in the hallway, probably laying there about 3 hours. They're very nice people. Emergency room doctor comes up. I'm 49. I know I was older. I know I was older than this guy. They asked me what's wrong. I'm like, my foot. I go, it's cramping up. I can't even stand up. They give me some fluids, like an IV in my arm. Gave me some pills, probably like fucking Advil or something. And try to stand up. No, because I told them I have cramps in my foot. Try to stand up. No, stabbing pain again. So then I was laying there for a few more hours. I think they tried something else. I don't remember what, a pill or something. It could have been a shot. I had the IV thing. And nothing worked. So they decided to admit me to the hospital. So they admit me to the hospital, and that's great because then you got to take off your clothes. You got to put a fucking gown on. I was like, can't I just wear my sweatpants? And they're like, no, if you're in here, you got to wear the gown. I don't want to wear a gown. I'm a big fat guy. That's not good. Mind you, at this time, I weigh at the time, October 20th, I weigh 265. I don't weigh that now. We'll get to that. So they checked me into the hospital. I'm on that bed. I don't remember if I changed beds. They wheeled me to some floor where I'm just, in a fucking holding tank with, I don't know how many other beds. There certainly wasn't my own room. I go to sleep. Now you're in the hospital. Now they start fucking poking and prodding you. I don't remember if they were giving me pills or anything, but they were certainly, we got to take your blood. We got to do this. Now they start poking and prodding me. I'm not enjoying that. So I'm in the hospital. They can't automatically put me in my own room. So I'm just in some holding tank with a bunch of other people. I can't watch. I got no TV. My phone's running out of juice because I've been watching shit on that. I'm texting my girlfriend telling her all this stuff. And finally, they put me in a room. I don't get my own room, but there's only one other person in there. And the hospital's nice, and everybody there is really nice. People I've dealt with so far. So, mind you, I still haven't taken a shit. I haven't gone to the bathroom either. I haven't even taken a whiz. So I get in the room. I get in the room. They wheel me in my bed, and I also have to like I'm laying on the thing on my right side, just like I'm trying. That's the hardest thing is trying to find a comfortable position in the bed because now like my back is hurting too. The spot like on my upper left butt cheek, we'll say it's my back, and I gotta like lean on the right. So like they come in and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I mean, I can move my head and stuff, but I'm leaning on my right side. It's brutal. So I'm laying there on my side. They're poking, prodding. Doctor's asking me, blah blah blah. Did you have an accident? Did you fall or anything? I'm like, no, I just my legs started to hurt, and the next day, was the worst pain imaginable. My leg's actually hurting a little bit now. Sitting down like this is not the greatest thing for me, but I can sit down. So they're poking, prodding me. Nurses are nice. They're coming in, taking my blood, uh, pills, pills for the pain, you know, all through the day and night. And I'm laying, it sucks. I mean, there's no time when I'm not in pain. I mean, there were nights when I would try to sleep because I was there a while. When it started, and I couldn't even. I'd have a cramp in my foot all night, a cramp in my foot that I couldn't like stretch, pull my toes back. Nothing helped. It was like inside my foot where there's like, well, how the hell do I fix that? Well, I don't know. Shoot some Gatorade in there or something. Can't you do, do I need to drink more water, milk, whatever? I'll do it. They take me for x-rays. They're like, hey, we need to get an MRI. There's another thing. The MRI machine. I don't know how many people listen to this ever had an MRI. Probably seen it on TV. It's that fucking metal tube that they slide you in. And luckily, it didn't involve my head, but still, I had to slide into this thing basically, feet first. They put you on this thing they put headphones on you, and it went to like here. So, and like the top of it is right here. So you're like, oh, yeah, so it's like very claustrophobic. And I'm like, here's the other problem. I couldn't, I couldn't lay down flat like that. And it's not a cushion thing. It's like it's basically like they lay you down on a slab and it slides you in. Very little padding. And that's like the worst position for me to lay in is just straight flat because I can't do it. My back. So I'm telling them that. Uh, and they're like, well, we really need to do this because we got to see inside. An x-ray does, shows you like your bones and stuff, but the MRI, and it takes like, 20 minutes. The MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, I believe is what it is. It shows like the inside, and I guess it shows like if it not your veins, your nerves and stuff. It'll give them more of an idea of what's wrong with me because they're thinking it's like sciatica or something, or something to do with my back, and it's run down my leg. You know, they think it's sciatica, but they have to know. They want to know where it is starting. Sciatica is a pinched nerve in your back, and that nerve goes sciatic nerve, and that nerve goes all the way down into your foot. So they want to be able, if that's the problem, they want to be able to see, where it's being pinched. So they give me, they're like, okay, we're going to give you morphine to do this thing. Cause I was like, I can't lay there for 20 minutes. I was like, I don't care about being in the machine. I can't lay there like that for 20 minutes. All right. So they time the morphine to where they're going to give it to me, immediately take me downstairs, put me in the machine and do it. Well, here's what happens. They give me the morphine. I They take me down there immediately. Once I'm in the MRI place, probably took like 5 minutes for them to get me in the machine. And I lasted like 3 minutes before the pain in my, I don't remember if it was in my foot or back specifically, but I lasted like 3 minutes before I literally started, and I'm wearing headphones that play music, but also, I don't know if it's Bluetooth, it's a Bluetooth thing, and they can hear me. It's got a microphone on it. And so they can hear me, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's, sitting there for like a minute. I'm like, okay. Oh, and when the lady shot the morphine into me, she goes, now you're gonna feel some warmth. This is probably gonna make you warm. And she shoots the morphine in me, and about 10 seconds later, I'm like, I'm feeling warm. I go, am I supposed to feel warm? And she's like, yes, I told you that you would feel warm. And I was like, okay. And it was fucking great for that 5 minutes. The morphine was very good, but it literally only lasted like, it might have lasted 7 or 8 minutes. Like I said, it took about 5 minutes for me to get down there and get in the machine. And then I lasted about 2 or 3 minutes in it, and I couldn't. And I started screaming because I was like, it's hurting, and I had to get out of there because you can't move. You're in that. So I couldn't even move into a position that would give me some relief. They pull me out, they take me back up to my room. I'm like, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. It just hurts too bad. And so of course, like the next day, the doctor's like, we really need to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I understand we really need to do it, but I can't lay there. I go, you gave me morphine and I lasted 3 minutes in the machine with morphine. They're like, well, we can't give you, more morphine than that. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. I go, I'm not trying to not do this. I want to do it. So they actually took me down and got me uh, what's the thing when you're fucking pregnant, when you're pregnant and they check her belly, sonogram. They had a sonogram machine. I was like, what, am I pregnant? Nobody, the doctors and stuff don't really laugh. I mean, I was on fire at some points with my comedy, and they're just not they're not really into it while they're working. So they do that, and they're like, oh, we can see some stuff, but not what they're like, we really need to do the MRI. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. So anyway, the next day they ended up giving me something, and the MRI guy was like, well, if you don't move, we can do it in 10 minutes. And I was like, okay. I go, give me whatever is, give me that other medicine, and I'll try to last for 10 minutes. So I'm in there, they're playing, I get them to play 80s music on my headphones. I figured, I was like, 10 minutes, that's like 3 songs, maybe 4. So I get in there, songs playing. Once the third song was done, I was like, okay. I go, we gotta be close to 10 minutes. And then another song played, and then it was done. And I was just singing along to the song. That's all I was thinking about. I was just like, okay, we get through 3.5 songs and I'm good. And I was just sitting there. I don't, come from a land down under, singing whatever fucking song was on there. Even if I didn't know the song, I was just like, yeah, 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 yeah. Heard the guy laughing. Again, I was killing. So they get the MRI and they're like, yeah, it's a, pinched nerve in your back. There's something, you know, come to find out later, whether it was something I was born with or I had an accident at some point. Could have been years ago. Could have been born with it. Could have been something that happened years ago. And then something happened to where this thing activated. The nerve moved, whatever, bone moved a little bit and pinched the nerve. So now they knew that. And so now I'm in my hospital bed, still at the hospital, and apparently I could stay at the hospital for a week. I know that because they moved me someplace else after a week. So during that time, until I leave, and then I was going to go to a rehab place, physical rehabilitation place. We had various fun times in the hospital room. Like, for example, I had a few roommates. I had one roommate who Uh, he didn't like to he didn't like to stay in his bed, so he would get up and sit on the couch in the room. He also liked to play his TV, which the TV has you can actually plug in your headphones if you have headphones with the plug, the regular old school, you know, the old school plug. If you have one of these, you can plug it into uh, the handset remote control. It's got a long cord and listen to shit. He didn't do that. He had it, and that's where the sound comes from. Is you got a little handle thing that has a cord. It's got your call button, and it's also got the TV. It's a TV remote, but also call button and stuff. Well, this guy liked to play his shit really loud, and he liked to get up out of his bed. Problem being, he was a fall risk, so they had an alarm on his bed. So every time this motherfucker got out of his bed, the alarm would go off. And he seemed to want to get out of his bed whenever I wanted to go to sleep. So that was fun. Then my next roommate, I thought was like some sort of machine because apparently at like I was in this room for like 5 days, and in 5 days there were two or three different people that came in that I lived with in the room. There was three. The first guy was actually this guy. The first guy, my first roommate, suite mate, hospital mate, whatever. There's a curtain pulled, so I like never see the guy unless he gets up and goes to the bathroom. He was a big fat guy. I'm a big fat guy too at the time, and I only knew he was big and fat once he got up and went to the bathroom. When I first got there, in that room, he had I don't know how many fucking machines he had, but he definitely had a sleep pap machine. Uh, and he had something else. I don't know if he had just had like gastric bypass or a fucking heart surgery. Uh, but he had all these machines going, and at night the fucking there's like I'm sitting there and the machines are making so much noise, but they're making noise like they're working. Like there's machines just going. I'm not the guy from Police Academy, so I don't can't fucking do perfect impressions. But there's one that's like, all right, that sounds like that's some sort of breathing thing. It's not him, but it's the machine helping him breathe. And I'm not saying you got to turn off these machines, but there was also like a beep. There was a beep that was happening out of one of these fucking machines that to me sounded like some sort of warning beep. It wasn't just like every minute, every once in a while, beep, beep. If it was something like that, I'd be like, okay, well, I guess that's, maybe they can turn that down. I don't even remember the sound, but I just remember it was like a warning sound. And the next day I'm like, and people would come in every once in a while. And the next day I like say something to the nurse. I'm like, hey, I go, I think, this that guy's machines they're making so much noise. I go, and one of them sounds like there's a warning light. And she's like, no, that's not a warning. That's not a warning beep. And of course, it beeps all through the night. And then the next morning somebody comes in and I say that to them, or they come in and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, this is low battery. We got to fix it. And I'm just like, yeah, I knew it was a fucking warning light. Check engine. So this guy, and also he was on, when you're in the hospital, they don't just, they give you food. I actually like the food in the hospital. Queens Presbyterian, your food was very good. Uh, but you might have dietary restrictions, and this guy obviously did. So they give you plenty of food, but like, if you're diabetic, they don't give you, they don't give you fucking a chocolate sundae. Well, this guy had his wife bringing him in food, and I remember one day, only because a nurse or a doctor comes in and he's got a can of Pringles, and the lady's like, no, you can't eat those. And he's like, well, what if I just had one? And this is after they go back and forth, and she's like, no, you can't have those. She's like, you're on a restricted diet, you're not supposed to have that. And he's like, oh, I could have one. And she goes, yes, you can have one. You can have one of those Pringles. And they both started laughing, which obviously the guy had already probably eaten half the sleeve. So there was that guy. Then the next guy was uh, the guy that didn't like to lay in his bed and had a fucking alarm on it. So every time he got up and the alarm, get up to go to the bathroom, he wasn't supposed to get up. He was supposed, he pressed the button and they'll come and help you. So uh, then my third roommate was an old guy, and I think, it wasn't really very funny, but he was a guy. I think he had some sort of dementia. So at night he would say things like help, and he'd be like, help, where am I? And I would press the call button for him. And there were times at night when they didn't, they weren't really, and then finally they'd come in or they'd call and be like, yes. And I'd be like, I'm calling for the guy next to me. He keeps saying help. And I guess they knew that he did it because I didn't really come and help him. But yeah, that was, and that last guy, I couldn't see him because the curtain was pulled, and that was probably a good thing because there were a couple of times where he would get up and the nurse happened to come in, and I would hear, I don't know if they said his name, or they were like, oh, come, sir, where's your gown? The guy was naked. He'd like get up naked and start walking around, but he never came by me. So, as I told you, when I was in the hospital, or I told you when I was at home, those 3 days, I couldn't sit down. Couldn't sit down like this in a chair. Had to lay down. Couldn't sit on the toilet. Again. So I'm at the hospital. Now I'm eating hospital food 3 times a day. But here's another thing. I couldn't sit up in the bed. Normally you see on TV, people sit up in their bed. The bed goes. That's another thing to talk about is the fucking beds, the mattresses in the hospital these days. We'll go to that. The mattresses in the hospitals, they are like anti, I guess they're anti bed sore mattresses, to where they're like air mattresses. They're very nice, obviously high tech, but they automatically like change the pressure points on your body so that you don't get bed sores. Well, I'm not going to get bed sores because I'm not laying in the bed that much. I mean, I would think you could turn it off, but apparently you can't. So my point in bringing this up is you're laying in the bed and this is especially important for me. I'd be like, like I said, leaning on my right side. Oh, I found a great spot to lay in, and the bed would go, and I'd be like, okay, this is not the position I like. It would literally like move me like that, or I'd be laying down and all of a sudden be like, and my fucking arm would go up or my leg. It was, and I asked them about it. I was like, what's up with these beds? And they're like, yeah, we don't really like them. And yeah, so the anti-bed sore uh, beds fucking blow. I don't know who thought of that. I guess that's a good idea if you are, if you have somebody that you are really worried about getting bed sores. But when, I'm trying to find, oh, I got the, oh man, oh, I found the perfect position to sleep. Fuck, that hurts. It's terrible. Okay, here's the meat of the story. I'm laying in bed. I also haven't had a shower, which includes washing my hair, in the 3 days I'm at home. Haven't been able to do that. Now I've been in the hospital for like 2 or 3 days. So we're looking at 5, 6 days, no shower, no no hair wash. I'm feeling miserable. I'm sure I fucking stink. I'm laying in the bed, haven't taken a shit, taking a piss in a, they give you a little urinal thing. You stick your fucking wiener, and my wiener's fucking like this. So I gotta fucking like bend this little fucking rubber fucking foreskin cock onto the urinal thing. Luckily, I figured out how to do it. I hardly ever got pee on me, so I learned how to use it well. So I'm using the urinal, but I still haven't taken a shit. Now it gets to the point I gotta take a shit because they start giving me stool softener because some of the painkillers they're giving me cause uh, constipation. So they're giving me stool softeners. So now I got to shit. I'm laying in bed. I tell the nurse, I'm like, hey, she's like, okay, we can try a bedpan. And I'm like, I don't think I can sit on the bedpan because you got to, laying down, I got to sit on it. It's right on the spot. That's fucking hurting me. Try the bedpan. You gotta, and plus I gotta fucking arch up. She slides it under. I'm like, no, I'm like, oh, take it out. She takes it out, and then she goes, and then the nurse goes, you can just go in the bed. And I'm like, what? No, I go, I can't. I can't go. And she's like, no, you can just, I think she said, like, you can just go to the bathroom and you can go number 2 in the bed. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, like they lay down this thing it's called a chuck. And it's just like if you want to say it's a pad, but it's so you can poop on it and it doesn't go through it and it doesn't get on the bed. Keeps it on the thing. So she's like, yeah, you can just go in the bed. And I said, let me guess, you're not the one that's going to have to clean this up. And she just started laughing because she wasn't. She was like above somebody else. So somebody else is going to have to do it. So now I'm laying there and I don't know how. I'm going to guess most of you, if not all of you listening to this, don't know what it's like to just not being drunk, not being sick like, you got food poisoning or something, you can't help it, it just happens. I don't know how many of you have actually laid in the bed, turned on your side, and just went, all right, I'm going to shit. Well, I can tell you, it felt fucking awesome. I mean, I'm not going to do it again. Hopefully, I never have to. It felt great, but it felt great physically, but it felt fucking weird. And we'll get a little gross here. It felt like, it was like smushed bananas just fucking coming out of my butt. It was like my buddy Sean, it's like a Play-Doh factory down there. It just, you ever seen the Play-Doh factory where the kid presses the thing and the Play-Doh just goes, that's what it felt like. I mean, I didn't like spread my cheeks or anything. I can't imagine what it looked like back there. Then I'm pressing the fucking button. I tell the lady, I don't know what it smelled like, but I told the lady, I was like, okay, I just pooped in the bed. Oops, sorry, shaky cam. By the way, this is going to be an hour. Got about 10 minutes to go, and then or about 12 minutes, and it's going to be at least a 2-parter. It's probably going to be a 3-parter. So, lady came in. I'm going to say Jamaican lady, large black lady, very nice. Had a nice accent. Sounded like she was from Jamaica or the Caribbean area. And I was very thankful. I was telling her that she deserved a raise. I go, I'm sorry you have to do this. And she was like, oh, it's, she's probably dealt with worse. She's probably had people yelling at her while she's helping them. And I was very nice to her. And I was like, you deserve a raise. I go, can I get a comment card? Thought it was at the comedy club. Can I get a comment card to fill out? You got a Yelp review. I'll give you 5 stars. Very nice lady. She cleaned my butt. She also gave me a sponge bath, and I probably shouldn't say this, but she was giving me a sponge bath, and she's trying to clean my wiener. And like I said, my wiener's like, women who have been with can attest. The Biggerstaff works, and when it gets to full length, when aroused, it's very worthwhile. But my wiener has done nothing. So it's like this big. And she's cleaning around my groin area and stuff, or like and she's like poking at it. And I'm not circumcised. So there's no head. There's just like, when it's that small, there's just skin over the top of it. And she's like poking at it. And she's like, I can't clean it. I can't get in there, which made me feel great. And I was like, I go, don't worry about it. I go, I'll get it. Or I don't think I said that yet, but I was like, I go, that's okay. She's like, well, if somebody, she goes, if they see that I didn't get it, I'll get in trouble. And I was like, who the hell is they? We bringing people in here to check out my wiener? Sorry, ma'am, but you didn't clean his half-inch uncircumcised cock as well as we'd like. So you're out of here. And we both started laughing. I mean, I didn't say that whole part, but like I said, I was like, they? Who the hell is they? So we laughed and laughed and laughed. So there was that. But like I said, I couldn't, it was very nice to shit in the bed. Only did that once. They came in, tried to do physical therapy. First couple of days, I was actually in the hospital in that room. I couldn't even stand up. After about 3 days, though, I could stand up, and I ended up, they had a little reclining chair that I could sit in. So I was actually getting out of the bed and sitting there. It was, just like getting up, flopping into that chair. Also, my buddies, two Houston comics who now live in New York, Jaffer Khan and Chase DeRusso, both very funny guys. Look them up. Jaffer Khan, Chase DeRusso. They came and visited me like the second day I was in the hospital. I didn't have any headphones at the time. Forgot to bring some headphones. And so I asked Jaffer to come. I was like, I'll pay you. Pick me up some headphones. I got an iPhone. So him and Chase surprised me with him. They both came in and hung out for a little bit, got me some headphones, which, by the way, Jaffer bought me some. They said, I knew they weren't Bluetooth. I was just like, give me the cheapest headphones that work for an iPhone 8 Plus with the whatever it is, lightning port, thunder port, whatever it is, whatever this is, whatever that one is. So he gets me these headphones and it says on the box Bluetooth. Now he just got them from like some bodega around the corner. So I'm like, and he's like, I was like, how much are they? And he's like, $25. I'm like, well, these aren't Bluetooth. Because first of all, they have a cord with a plug. They're the only, and this isn't the actual thing he bought me, but what it was you had to turn the Bluetooth on and plug it in. Like when I plugged it in, it didn't work. I plugged it into my phone. The Bluetooth didn't work. I had to go in Bluetooth and turn it on. And it was called Lightning. So it's a Lightning port. And I would turn on Lightning and then they worked. Very weird. But, all right. I think that's about it for right now. Part 1 of Bob's Hospital Saga. I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's probably going to be another 2 parts to this. And as you can tell, I'm telling you everything because I want you guys to know why I haven't been doing my podcast. I feel bad for it, but like I said, obviously I couldn't do it in the hospital. Anyway, I appreciate you guys listening. This is Bob Biggerstaff, part 1 of the Bob's Hospital Saga. Part 2 will be coming up within the next week. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. ComicBob.com. Bobby Biggs Chipotle.